What's this? What's this? There's Chibsons everywhere! What's this? You buyers must beware. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. So this just popped up today, and it's almost the season for it. I had to feature it. It's a Les Paul Custom The Nightmare Before Christmas Signature Edition. Did you know about this one? No, you didn't, because it's a Chibson. However, if you're gonna order a fake Gibson, I applaud the manufacturer that both wants to tempt Gibson and Disney suing your pants off. But, you know, it's cool. This doesn't exist otherwise, so worst crimes you could commit. So as far as our custom paint job, we've got 4 blue knobs. We got Mr. Skellington over here with his lady, up there with the moon on the background. I could honestly see this being a real thing that could sell, because it's not like Disney branded fenders don't already exist from the past. Like we got Mickey, Minnie, and Donald. We also have crazy custom shop guitars with Tinkerbell on the headstock. But at this point, you should just change the headstock to say, "What's this?" and have like Jack Skellington on the headstock too, just for fun. Now, whether they put anything on the back, unfortunately, we don't know from these 3 photos. But it was being advertised as Gibson Les Paul Custom Shop Chinese on eBay. However, with a title like that, somebody who's not familiar with Gibsons might think there is a Chinese division, so what it should say is Chibson Les Paul Custom, or even better yet, if you're selling a knockoff, even though you're not supposed to, people do it anyway, list it as unbranded single cut and cover over the fake logo. But eBay's really bad about selling Chibsons directly, because once you find one through recommendeds, they just keep recommending you a whole bunch more. I suppose the way they get around this is they don't show the headstocks in these photos, but the only reason why I'm sharing this one is I'm not familiar with this John Sykes model. It's got 2 P94 style pickups, it's a trapeze tailpiece, and we get the Super 400 inlays. That's kind of a cool combination. But no, our main story tonight actually comes on this reverb page. Do you see anything that might catch your attention? No, it's not the SGX, even though I do need to review one of those. It's the Gibson Matthias Jobs over here. One of the E90s. For a really good price. Generally speaking, the E90 is not a super popular guitar. It's an Explorer that's had its dimensions changed. It's been shrunk by about 10%. I believe that's how they came to the E90 name, and you can find a few different pickup configurations on these. But the Scorpions dude is very popular for having these stripes on his guitar, so I just figured, yeah, somebody just added it to it, or maybe this was a custom shop edition, which was what I was really hoping for, and then, holy cow, I got to the back of the headstock. Somebody's faked this model and they put the vintage serial number on it? This is the first E90 I've ever ran across that's a fake. But it looks so good from far away. I thought for sure those were real mother of pearl inlays, and maybe it's just like some sort of a refinish. But this headstock shot tells you everything. So if you try to read this like normal, yeah, it tells you 1988. 260th day of the year, production number 703. So that would tell us it's Nashville produced, and all those numbers do indeed make sense. However, you need to intimately know about these guitars to realize that the font is just off. It is not right at all. It's not been stamped in the proper way. It looks like it's just been wood burnt into the headstock. And then look at your tuners. They're the real cheapy ones. And oh wow, I'm glad I researched this. Apparently, the custom shop has made at least one of these back in 2016. That's fascinating. So this has the Floyd Rose. It's got 2 humbuckers this time, 3 independent controls, but it's got the stripes. I thought for sure this was going to be like a custom order for the guy himself. Like back from the 80s, I didn't realize they had ever tried to reissue it. But I guess when you're a popular guy, you can get anything done. But this is how a real one would look. But there you go, 2016 serial number. But if you want to see those reviewed and demoed, I do have one from a while back. And once you've seen the serial number on this one, you can kind of tell that logo looks a little bit wonky. However, this is just kind of a strange looking model to begin with. So this is like a scammer's dream guitar. But here's a good photo that shows you just how much shrunken it is. Thankfully, Reverb took that down really quickly. Otherwise, I think somebody might have got scammed. But also on the same page was an interesting Les Paul special from the early 2000s. So I had to click on this because look, Alnico 5 staple pickup somebody threw in here. That is a lot of fun. But did you notice it's a mini humbucker? I sure didn't, because the next thing that caught my attention was it looks like somebody intentionally tried to relic it and it just came off really cheaply. Or maybe it got close to a heat source, paint in just that area flaked away. But if you took some fine sandpaper and lessened the edge here, I bet it would be a pretty comfortable guitar to play, because that's right where your arm rests. Maybe that's why somebody did it. But the modifications they did here, that's a unique combo. Alnico 5 and Mini Humbucker. I'd like to hear that one. But this is one of those very shortly lived small trapezoid inlaid guitars. I should probably get one of these to review one day just because, we know about small block inlays from like SGs and whatnot, but small trapezoids, that's just a small niche late 90s, early 2000s type thing. I fully understand why they no longer use them. But this appears to have been somebody's player. However, if you want it, you have to be in California because it's a local pickup situation only. But this also caught my attention. One of the George St Piers. These are historically known for being some of the ugliest Les Pauls to have ever been birthed. However, some of them are so ugly they become beautiful, and then there's a few really nice ones. I have this gold paisley one in my collection, and they did a few different hues of that. But they really do range from zombie viruses to roses and thorns to other strange dot patterns. They're not all the same, but they'll speak to different people. It's certainly appropriate to say they're not going to be for everyone. But you can check out this episode if you want to learn more. So when this one popped up for sale today, I thought, for one of the lesser traditional ones, this one looks pretty good in this photo set. I like the way his name really stands out on this one, due to the gold being over top of the black. It's kind of got this evil rose thorn type thing going on. But it's kind of like the original Paisley Tellies. I do believe it's actually a cloth material and then they finish over top of it. So the tie-dyeing pattern, I believe, was applied to the cloth before they put it on there. It's an interesting way to get a limited edition 90s Les Paul standard, because that's all they are. They're not custom shop, they were just regular USA standards. They were individually numbered, so that's kind of cool. But more so a collector's piece. However, they did get a special case, and what's cool about this particular example is I didn't even know it was possible to get a COA on one of these. It doesn't look like it's specific to this particular run. However, it does appear to be filled out to this guitar. Those are the early days of the COAs. I thought this was a cool thing. It talks about the whole history, about how this guy was just working for Gibson. He had his whole side business, and then he pitched it to Henry, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. 103 of them. But this one is available for $6,000, which is far from the worst asking price I've ever seen, especially since it looks like it's got a professional photo shoot. That looks like how Gibson does it, so I believe that could be original to the guitar. So it looks like on Reverb, we currently have another photo of a different one with the exact same setup. I'm not sure if all of those had that. But Rumbleseat also listed one about 3 months ago. However, I actually unironically do enjoy this one. It reminds me of like a desert, or maybe even a creme brulee that's been stirred up or something. It's a little bit tastier than all the others, because you gotta remember, it's all over the guitar. I suppose you might even be able to say it's like a rattlesnake skin. And the name does not pop out as much on this particular one, if that's more to your styling. That one also appears to have the original case. So it's a very flat feeling one, but it says the Gibson at the top right there without any other branding on it. And it's got one of those Supreme style looped handles, before those things came out. But it's kind of like the Jimmy Page interior to Les Paul cases. It's green and you get the case shroud, including the headstock wedge for better or worse. But that is one of the coolest things about these, regardless of whether you like the artistic styling of them or not. Here's another listing out of Bulgaria, running along similar vibes. It said Les Paul Handmade. They're using keyword abuse to get people to see it before Reverb takes it down. But I thought, hey, that's kind of an interesting oakish looking top. So I had to click on it just to see exactly what it is. Now, if you're curious, do oak top Les Pauls actually exist? Yes, there was at least one limited edition done around 2008. It's a Les Paul historic reissue, but not only does it have the oak top with the unique wood grain, but it's also a Carina body and neck. That's one of those cool guitars I probably should have kept, but I sold it for what I thought was the right price, and I kind of wanted to use that money to eventually find the other exotic top version, which is a Koa top. But they said it's handmade. Now the pickups do look of decent quality, from what we can see right here anyway, but then once you get to the back, that's where it all just kind of starts to fall apart. But then when you get to the neck, it's like, I don't know, this just kind of looks like a Chinese parts thing that somebody slapped together doing the best that they could. It certainly doesn't look homemade from scratch, but they do have some decent hardware on it. But it definitely has the typical Chibson nut and binding. So I think handmade might be being stretched a little bit here, but it was still kind of cool. Ooh, Spotlight Special. Live and in the flesh. Unfortunately, more than I would pay for that example. It's got the brass switch tip, pickup's probably original. We've got a non-original Schaller version of the TP6 tailpiece. It's got the nice wood grain within the center stripe and decent wood grain overall. The original knobs yet, but the lacquer has really ambered on this one, so it's definitely been in the gigging situations. But as far as the condition on the back, it doesn't seem too bad. Now, I do have a pretty nice spotlight collection, but contrary to popular belief, I do not buy every single spotlight that shows up, but I will make an offer. But this guy's not open to offers, so I'll let that one be because it's not my favorite. All right, Troglodytes, I think that's enough fun for tonight. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.